question up is, why do you think they've messed up Superman so much when they made his games? And follow-up question, do you think it's even possible to make a good one? If so, how would you do it? That's 3 questions, but let's wrap it all into one. So one thing that I think I'll get the conversation started is, I think if they made a good one, the way you would make a good one is you wouldn't necessarily have to make it open world. I would actually follow Batman Arkham's Arkham, not Arkham City, but Batman Arkham, the first
Arkham
one.
Asylum.
Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Don't make it open world just first. You wanna be able to fly and shit, but I think that and you might not even want to necessarily start on Earth. You might want to start on Apokolips. That's why you have a bunch of superpowered villains to punch and fight, and you have a crazy kind of, metal-looking, level and stages to deal with. So I think that's one way you could do it. Also, another thing I want to bring up is there's a lot of games in which you already play as God-level powered people. Like God of War has God in the fucking name. So they've proven that you can play as a kind of god already. Darksiders is like this, any Avengers game with Thor, and there's probably a lot more. Is there any way you would make... How would you guys make a Superman game? How could you make a good one, if it's at all possible?
I think that a lot of it is sort of incorporating different elements of what we've already seen that we know work. So in some cases, you would need to have them go up against different robots or apocalypse people, because of the fact you need somebody to punch who isn't going to fall apart automatically, like those convicts that we saw him beat up. So that's one thing. I do like the damage being on the city, but I would also say don't do that the whole entire time. If there is kryptonite involved, or if he's on another planet, or there's a red sun, or he's fighting Darkseid, then bring back that health bar for that specific fight. Make that realistically how Superman would have to encounter that, where like day to day in Metropolis, maybe he's completely fine, with regular stuff, and then you throw a Metallo in there. Or you throw in Parasite, or you throw in Darkseid, or any of those who are a bigger threat, and suddenly now that pops up, because that's when Superman would care about that. So that would definitely be it. And then also just making it really easy to switch the different powers and stuff, because he has so many, and you don't want him to be so overpowered that it's just too easy of a thing, but you also don't want it to be too complicated, where you're just like, okay, what do I press in order to do... in order to do heat vision versus flight versus all these different things. So you'd have to make that somewhat easy to switch from one to the next for the player, I would say. Otherwise, it's just going to be a shit show of just like, you might accidentally, do heat vision when you didn't want to, and that type of stuff. So you would have to sort of have an easy guide for that, or have it like only available at certain times where maybe you don't need heat vision if you're just... all you're doing is just rescuing people. Or maybe you do, because you need to use it on some sort of bridge thing in order for that to fall down and allow people to, like, I don't know. But you would have to be very specific on each level or each situation, what you have available and what you're able to do. But I would say make it a full gamut of what a Superman, day in the life of Superman would be like.
That would be cool.
Whether he's fighting Metallo or Darkseid or just rescuing people throughout the city. And that would change all the different situations. That would change all the different powers you would have available.
I think that people are very hung up, too, on it being open world.
Ben, what is the name of, like, the prison in Superman's universe that houses all of his superpowers?
You mean New York?
We're losing Zach. I'm going to mark this in our time
Zach
code.
is gone.
Marking that. Okay, we're going to continue while he's figuring this out.
No, I liked a lot of what you said there, Ben. I'm definitely with you on that. I think that we should see an approach more in line with classic game design, with levels. I think that set pieces and limitations of the powers that you're using for each level would be really nice. Like, I like that classic arcade design. Like, oh, here's your flying level, here's your walking and punching level. Like, I want to have a level that incorporates or focuses on using X-ray because I'm looking to rescue people, and then have a level where I'm just going all out and just knocking people out left, right, and center. And I think that in modern game design, you want some grandiose stuff. So like set pieces that allow you to showcase and use those abilities would be really nice. And of course, my short response these days is really just give it to Insomniac. Let them make it.
You love them, huh? They are good.
They're
They're
such
good.
a phenomenal team. I've played like all of their games all along, and I've always been impressed. They've always felt great. And getting hold of Spider-Man back in, was it 2018 or whatever? I was just like, oh man, you guys took something that was already great and made it even better. I don't know how.
Those games are great. Yeah, I think, especially before they kind of figure out how to make it, definitely you don't have to do the open world thing at first, and maybe even start out with him as Clark Kent. Maybe he doesn't have his powers, and you start off with a limited power set, and as you go through the game, he's slowly getting his powers back, and then you end up essentially in God mode, and he's flying across the planet, he flies across the universe, whatever, to Apocalypse or whatever it is, and you get the full catharsis at the end with being like kind of God level Superman. But then maybe like Last of Us or something, or like Uncharted, it's a game like that where it's kind of linear, it's on rails at first, and then maybe for the next one you get a little bit more open world like Arkham did. And maybe they'll figure it out, and then when it's open world, then you have the city, have the battle meter, have the energy bar, like the other game did. Take that into consideration. So I think that's there. I think a lot of it really is the villains, man. People are like, oh, he's too powerful. We can't make a game out of him. Well, fucking, he has a lot of villains that are about the same fucking power level, right? It's not that fucking hard. You get Metallo in there, you get Metallo's minions in there, you get somebody with fucking kryptonite, or put them under a red light, surprise the viewer, like, boom, motherfucker, red light. What are you going to do now? You know what I mean? Shit like that. All of a sudden, the boss is super hard. Again, it's all about how you tweak the villains and the enemy characters and just make that work. It could totally work. I don't think it's as hard as everybody's saying it is.
I'm surprised there wasn't a Man of Steel game.
It's true.
Like, how easy would that have been? You're just fighting other Kryptonians. Boom, it's already in the situation. You're in Metropolis. Maybe you're trying to prevent the amount of destruction that's in the movie or something, but you're at least, you have opponents. Like, I feel like the villain stuff is the easiest part of this.
Yeah. I think
you have so many to choose from.
I think that the difficulty of these things and like working with his powers should really be determined by the enemies, and it should be the enemies that get stronger and smarter through the game. Like, if you're just going up against some schmuck with a pea shooter, like, it's Superman, it's going to bounce off of him. It's fine.
Yeah.
So like level 1 or the first area, I'm just running right through. You guys can't touch me. You're a bunch of bums. But then as people learn more about the enemy, they increase their, arsenal of techniques, and the enemies get better and better. Like, I think that's the good way to do it. I like traditional level design, enemies getting stronger.
What you brought up actually reminds me real quick, Zach, is the Symphony of the Night in Castlevania. In that game, for those that don't know, you start out like super powerful, and then like in the first like 15 minutes, all your powers essentially are taken away by the villain character. So and then you have to go back and regain them. So if there was something like that too, like, oh, I felt Superman's power, but now I'm back to just kind of Clark Kent mode. Maybe you just have X-ray vision. Maybe you just have one, and then it kind of gains back. That would be kind of interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I got cut off earlier, Wi-Fi issues, but I had 2 ideas for a game, I guess. So, Ben, what is the name of the prison in Superman that has all of his superpowered villains in it?
That'd be Stryker's Island.
Strikers, that's right. I kept thinking Rikers. I was like, no, that's real. So
no, that's New York. This is not New York.
That's right.
Remember.
I was thinking like...
Are you thinking Stryker's Island, and the next one is Stryker City, and then Stryker's Night, and the third one?
I didn't know all those other ones existed. I was thinking about maybe like Arkham Asylum. Maybe he's not stuck on Stryker's Island or whatever, but I like the idea of like all of his villains getting released, and he has to slowly go up through tiers of his villains that are getting stronger and stronger. That way you get a really good variety of his bad guys. And, maybe it's one of the like major bad guys is the catalyst for them escaping, and the person he has to fight at the end. I was also thinking that the Emperor Joker storyline would make a really good game because with the reality bending powers, that would be kind of cool to take away some of Superman's abilities, and it would like throw him into a completely different environment. Like it might be fun to start with Mixie or something, like something kind of innocuous and stupid, but it maybe all of a sudden like surprise, like the Joker shows up and like you see him gain control of those powers, and I just feel like that would be kind of interesting. So those are at least my 2 game ideas.
You'd have to incorporate. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm done.
You'd have to incorporate a little bit of Clark Kent too in an ideal Superman game. You would have to have some reporter moments, some moments with Lois too. Probably those would just be cutscenes, but you know, you would have to, do some sort of maybe even detective work. I know he's not a detective like Batman, but he's still an investigative reporter, right? So it would have to have something along those lines. And I'm not sure how they would incorporate that as much, but it would be very cool.
It could be something where there's a level where you're Clark Kent and you're just in the right in the thick of it with everyone else, and you are trying to save everybody, but without giving yourself away. So that would be like, cool. Can you do freeze breath on something without anybody looking?
Yeah,
that would be cool. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Can you super speed to Jimmy and get him out of the way real quick, and then go back without anybody seeing that? You know, that type of stuff.
Then that gets into stealth gameplay mechanics. That is true.
Yeah, that would be the stealth stuff for Superman, would be when he's Clark and he doesn't have time to change out into it, but he sees somebody in danger. He can't just be like, well, I'm Clark, I can't save anybody now. Like, no, he's still going to do it. He just has to do it really discreetly.
That could be their what they call Predator mode, the stealth parts of the Arkham games. Yeah, that could be that version of that. Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea.